Lonely Attack on the Different World, web novel, chapter 47. Without butter, it turned dry and peculiar tasting, but she began a mysterious dance anyway. Day 25, morning, Amoy Guild. I escaped since they were scolding me, and yet... Why do the quests remain the same? Do you have any intentions of working at this guild? The person in charge of the notice board is not working at all, right? They're working even less than a neat. I have no money, I have no allowance. When are you going to post legit profitable quests? Just when am I going to hit it big already? When are you going to start keeping a low profile? Profitable quests are for adventurers, but you couldn't become one, right? Why did you come here again? Everyone was really worried. Oh, it's a flat gaze from the receptionist lady, the first in a while. Yesterday I couldn't get my fill. The girls were giving me a serious glare instead. Even though I did nothing wrong? Could it be that they are angry at me that I came back alive? No, that can't be true, I hope. Ah, I see, souvenirs. The problem is that I came back empty-handed. As I thought, I ought to raise my affection rating, or my life is at risk. I will be killed through a sermon. Isn't there money hidden somewhere? If it was laying on the ground somewhere, that's one thing, but please don't just steal hidden money. That is what a bandit would do. Oh, it's another flat gaze. Not a point-blank stare while crying. Completely different stuff. Something I couldn't have at the cave. I want to sleep, but if I go back to the inn, I'll get scolded again. And there's no point in idling around town since I have no money. The geeks are useless as usual. The idiots are sleeping. Well, they are idiots after all. No, really, aren't they way too stupid? Almost dying, losing arms and legs. They barely survived. Had their limbs regrown, and what did they do? Run all the way back to the city without stopping? Without stopping for a sleep or a break? They ran all the way to the city while chewing on HP mushrooms and collapsed in front of the gates, getting captured by the guards as a result. Complete and utter idiots. There was no point in rushing, and they should have known that. And in the first place, they were almost dead just some hours ago. Don't run. As a result, they didn't recover at all. Wandering around the town, I spot some cute maid I had met several days ago. And is she waving a hand? To me? She is beckoning? Me? Is this finally the time for this and that? And I got caught. Suddenly, soldiers surrounded me. Please, why can't they be maids? This is a scummy trap, making use of the high school boy's brain in such a way. How terrifying. Turns out it was a trap set up by Mari-Mari-san. I thought that we might catch you with this, but why did it go so easily? Even though we couldn't find you no matter how hard we tried, and you fall this easily for a maid? Well, she was waving a hand. She was beckoning me. Who wouldn't go? But when the guards do that, you run away. But they're old dudes. Who wouldn't run away? And also, please don't make such a face like you don't recognize me. It's Meriel. You even have it written in your passage permit. Not Meri or Meri, Meriel. But your mother, Moody Musan, introduced herself as Meri's mother? Even mother forgot. I'll live as Meri from now on. You can even call me Meri if you'd like. I got scolded by the butler. And that's after I said so many times that I prefer maids. Never mind, I didn't say anything. Father and mother were looking for you since that day, wishing to express their gratitude. But no matter where we looked, we couldn't find you. Uncertain if it is because you aren't in town or avoiding us, I decided to set up a trap. So you were here? No, I returned last evening, or rather last night, but couldn't get into the town, and when I did, the gatekeeper caught me. Anyway, gratitude. With father and mother being saved by you as well, you now saved our whole family, for which we are deeply grateful. Father and mother once again departed for the neighboring town, so I thank you in their stead as well. Are you listening? Really? And here is the modest reward. Please accept it. I obtained money. Looks like saving carriages from attacks is pretty lucrative. Neighboring town, won't they get attacked again? I mean, it's about time, isn't it? Why do they have to get attacked every time they leave outside? And what do you mean, about time? Just what are you hoping for? The nobles behind the attack are already arrested. It should be safe. Looks like there won't be any new attacks. Looks like I won't be getting any more money. The path to the affection boost is still long. Since I got money, I stroll around the town. Eventually, I reached the weapons store that was on the verge of turning into a store exclusively selling clubs. Old man, are you fine with that? Aren't you a blacksmith? Hey, old man, I found some more Goblin Leader clubs lying around. Do you want to buy? When I showed him a club, he dashed to me from the store, carrying a leather bag full of money. How easy. Everything that I can buy for this. Or actually, why would such a thing be laying on the ground? Well, collision, accidental death, and clubs ended up on the ground, kind of. You were saying that they were lying, like you had nothing to do with this, but didn't you kill them? Not only you didn't just find them, but you were also the very culprit that killed them. No, how much of an idiot does one have to be to run around brandishing a club where a person is about to fall? It's not my fault, is it? Well, it was just lying on the ground, I guess. While saying this and that, the old man appraised the clubs. Looked like they are selling well. This town might be a dangerous place. I actually also have clubs from Kings and the Emperor, but I'm not telling him that since he might go bankrupt trying to buy them. For some reason, this town has a terrible custom of blaming every store that is getting into bankruptcy on me. What a terrible place. Regrettably, the lady from the general store couldn't beat her mushroom addiction. Her condition might be more severe than I initially thought. When I told her if she wants mushrooms, she should find rice, she broke down into tears. In the end, I sold them to her for cash and dried fruits. She rubbed her cheeks on the mushroom with tears in her face. It might be too late for her. This looks like a terminal stage. I really wish she'd stop since it looks incredibly suspicious. Speaking of suspicious, it looks like the suspicious hooded merchant is not yet back in the town. And my infection points as well. Pheromones aren't coming back. Now the president and the others are off to the dungeon. It seems that they took a request for it, so they have to go. Until night it should be okay, but then they will come back with more raging sermons and furious lectures. The cookies that I made while killing time back at the cave have a bit of a weird taste since I couldn't get my hands on butter. But when I tried to feed them to the poster girl, she was incredibly happy and even did some kind of strange dance. Sugar seems to be pretty valuable and is not widely available, but they have dried fruits. I guess making a fruitcake might prove useful the next time I get scolded. Or rather, there is a good chance that the scolding might continue even when I get back. Even more so since I ran away. This time I came back without souvenirs. That must be the reason that they were mad at me. They were super mad. Looks like the weapons that Motoki-kun carried wasn't enough. What's needed are sweets after all. Though at this rate, the girls might soon need to get into Billy's boot camp. One more set. So yes, I should make a fruitcake. Without butter, it might turn out like sweetbread, but it's a fruitcake. Borrowing the inn's kitchen, I get to making the cake. I already bribed the poster girl, so it's not a problem. I have flour, dried fruits, and milk. I don't know what kind of milk it is, but milk is milk. If it turns into bread, I can just turn it into steam buns. Anyway, with the exception of the idiots, everyone is in the dungeon for now, and they will be back by night. And when they are, the sermon will resume. Before then, I must finish the fruitcake. It's a race against time. A fruitcake is the only thing that can prove my innocence. Actually, though my clothes are still intact, it seems that there was more damage than I thought. Even though I healed my wounds with the mushroom potions, especially from the crash landing of the last jump into town. I was on the verge of death, and I also didn't sleep. And yet, to avoid another lecture, I'm making a fruitcake. Sifting the flour, making the dough, kneading it, letting it ferment. Even though the idiots are sleeping, baking it, steaming it. Should I bake the geek's head as well? Why didn't they even try to help me? Didn't they say that they will repay the favor when they got to a town? And when we came to town, they weren't even there? And they did nothing to save me from the sermon. Read the mood. Why am I the only one who has to work this hard, even though I'm a NEET? It's a victory, a complete and overwhelming victory. I was vindicated and the charges were false after all. Am I on the route of turning into Monte Cristo? I'm already living in the cave, but on whom should I take my revenge? Translator's note. The Japanese name for that novel is The King of the Cavern. The girls jumped at the pseudo-fruit cake, or more like steamed buns like something. They are almost swallowing it whole. Some of them are even crying. They sink their teeth into them without saying anything and swallow. I'm glad that I cut it up beforehand. They are going so hard at it that I seriously think that were I to leave it whole at the center of the table, they would have started a death match. For some reason, everyone is crying while laughing. I don't remember putting any shrooms in there. Did I add something weird in there? Crying with smiles? That gradually shifted into dinner, with everyone making as much ruckus as usual. With idiots coming from downstairs and joining as well, the conversation turned into chaos. No one knows what they are talking about at this point. I don't know as well, their names as well. In the end, the commotion continued until midnight, with everyone taking turns to bathe. What a noisy bunch. As always, the president is way too close. While those bitches are putting on pressure sitting behind me, and the athletic girls are on the spree, while the poster girl is panicking, the idiots got emotional and are saying something dumb. The geeks ignore what is happening around them and engage in their usual geekery. Vice President A is glaring, Vice President C getting fed up by everyone, while Vice President B is jiggling as always. No, I'm not looking. Why does everyone turn to me all at once? Why did everyone stop talking? And many of them have flat gazes? Is this contagious? So close. If it were 12 people, then 24 eyes with flat gazes would have been a masterpiece. But the destructive power of 40 eyes is just too high. For some reason, even the poster girl was infected with a flat gaze. Good grief, as usual, they are noisy, bustling, and on top of that, boisterous. Even though they are already in the second year of high school, it is about time that they get some common sense. Time passed, and quite late at night, I finally returned to my room. Instantly falling asleep, or more like falling unconscious. I'm so tired. Day 25. Over.